It's incredibly empty. I'm very surprised. The woman gave me a pamphlet, and on the front cover of the pamphlet, it showed like a bombed down building, so I assume this was also hit pretty heavily. It was in some way reconstructed, like most of the city. It's very weird. You can definitely tell it's a newer city, not only because of all the architecture, but it just feels like the word's not well thought out, like newly thought out. It's because I guess they, over the last couple of years, they had a lot of time to be able to think of how they wanted to build a city. But it's always nice when there are very old architectural pieces and old churches or buildings or bridges that are rebuilt, as opposed to just destroying them. It's usually one of my main issues when it comes to a lot of architecture in the States. Me personally, it has to do with, I would love if people kept the old buildings. I remember even reading a lot of buildings in California and in New York, Chicago, and other major cities. If they were 30 or so years old, they were deemed to be completely old. So a lot of the architecture from the 1880s and 1890s in New York were demolished in favor of brand new things after the war to make the city seem more new and more alive and more beautiful, when in reality it was just using a lot of very cheap art materials. It kind of did nothing. I think I can walk up here. And it ended up simply falling apart as time went on. This is very, very pretty. There's clearly no mass going on right now. It's very nice. There seems to be no explanation as to what these are either. There's no signs anywhere. It's just simply images. Some of them look like paintings, but other ones look like just some kind of pictures. Oh, this is pretty. Oh, this is so nice. I assume it's telling some kind of story, obviously. The one in the middle looks like a priest visiting a prison of some sort. At least it looks like a prison. Very nice. There's also like something written here, not sure if you can see it through the sun. It's incredibly beautiful. Oh wow, I didn't even see that the ceilings are wooden. You normally don't see that. It's usually stone. It's always completely stone. How long it takes to like make these things and to create them. I think that every single time I see a cathedral or a church like this, it's always like people had to build this. I know that sounds ridiculous, or of course people had to build it. But you think of the hours, the man and woman power that had to go into building these things, to stacking these things on top of each other. Look at the arches. Imagine 500, 600, 700 years ago having to understand that you have to stack the stones a certain way so that you can make an arch and that they don't fall down when you are done doing it. To be able to make a ceiling in this way, to go up there by yourself, to carve all these things out. You can even see some of the intricacies on the actual ceiling. Think of what it takes to do this now, actually hiring someone to come to your house to do all of this. Now imagine doing this yourself. I don't know if you've ever been to or seen a gigantic church in Barcelona. It's called La Sagrada Familia, the Sacred Family Church. I mean, it's otherworldly. I think it's taken them over 100-something years to build. I believe that they're using public funds to actually build a church. But the idea of how long it takes and what actually has to physically be done. I know I'm rambling on, but I find it all quite interesting that you can have an idea in your head. Think of the size. It's going to sound crazy. Think of the size of your body. Think of the size of your head. Think of the size of your brain. And think of the size of a thought. This was a thought in someone's head. And look at what became of it. Look at what is here now. It's very powerful to think of that. If this is your first time to any of my channels, just understand that I always ramble on and say weird stuff. This is also very beautiful. I don't know how close I can actually get. There's no barrier, but I don't want to be one of those people who just kind of walks up and touches everything. All very pretty. Some parts are closed off. I think this is the organ up there. This is incredible. Can you see the detail? Try and zoom in a bit more. The detail is out of this world. My goodness. It doesn't even look real. It almost looks like something out of a video game. And I know the sound on this has to be incredible, as long as you're not standing too close to it. Have you ever been inside of a church or a cathedral and one of these starts playing, but you're right next to it? It hurts. It physically actually hurts. This is incredibly beautiful. And once again, I'll say it, by far one of the cleaner churches / cathedrals that I've seen. Not saying that they're all dirty, and I know it has to be a bit of a chore to clean all of this, but some of them are very dusty. This one's very, very nice. Very well kept. Very beautiful, very bright as well. I guess that could also be attributed to the bright and sunny day that we're having in this gray port town. Super interesting. Alright, gonna try and see some more of the city.